We came so close to a Super Bowl title last season. It seemed like we were the team of destiny after starting off 4-4 and winning every remaining game in the regular season, seeing Denzel Stockton take a tremendous leap forward. We then cruised our way into the Super Bowl, where the Atlanta Falcons dealt us this crushing Super Bowl loss. So we're still in pursuit of that title. And we are in the home stretch of this franchise. I'm hoping to get us a ring before all is said and done. And I'd like to get this series wrapped up within the next month. I like this team that we've constructed. There have been some tremendous stories from the past year with the growth of Denzel Stockton into that franchise quarterback, and I'm no longer wavering. He is our guy. I had questions for a long time, but we finally saw him become that consistent quarterback, beat those top-level quarterbacks on other teams. Unfortunately, the Falcons were just too much for us, and the interceptions cost us a chance at really putting together a special year. But what becomes different now, the remainder of this series, is that we no longer have the luxury of cheap quarterback contract money. Those days are behind us. Denzel Stockton will now play on the fifth-year option and is set to be a free agent after next season. We had only $46 million of cap space going into the offseason, so I knew we would not be able to re-sign all of these free agents, especially if we wanted to address some key areas. My first priority was to sign Milton Williams back, because he's been one of the best mid-tier free agent signings I've made in a long time. He's a great pass rusher, helps complete our front four. He comes back on a one-year deal. I also wanted to see Andre James return, but with regression, I did want to see what could potentially be out there in free agency. No other contracts were ultimately offered. Players like DJ Reed, even Trayvon Merrick do not receive offers. We didn't have a lot of space. For the first time really in the series, the cap becomes constraining. How do you bring back a punter, a kicker, and a fullback all at $4 to $5 million a year? Well, with Nolan Irwin, I certainly wanted to see him come back. But paying $5 million a year for a fullback in our situation, I didn't think made a lot of sense. I like Nolan Irwin a lot. And Madden has something I didn't realize was a thing. The fullbacks get their own franchise tag, whereas in real life, I'm pretty sure it's all combined into running back. So actually, we can bring back Irwin on that tag, but we're not going to be re-signing Daniel Carlson or AJ Cole. And we'll go into free agency with $37 million of cap space. In this stage, however, we ended up losing both coordinators. We didn't during staff week, and I'm not sure if that impacted our ability to choose better replacements for these guys, as both of our coordinators got head coaching jobs, but we didn't have many to choose from. I brought in the most experienced coordinators that I could. And with what staff points I did have, I prioritized a lot of the quarterback boosts that I thought helped make a difference last year with Denzel Stockton. But now our coordinators are doing a lot less than the previous coordinators that we had, especially on the defensive side. So how would we attack free agency then? I knew we'd have a little money to shore up a couple holes. To me, cornerback was a concern, along with the offensive line. In free agency, we see that Jahmyr Gibbs, AJ Cole, Teron Armstead, Trayvon Merrick are the top-rated players. Well, my priority was to look at the offensive line first. Andre James was the best fit at center, so we end up offering him a one-year deal. We then see at guard, Robert Hunt is available. After moving on from Sean Childress last year and then starting Will Hernandez, I knew we had to get serious about guard. So Robert Hunt was offered a deal. We then go to corner, where Leon Beckwith at 25 years old is available and isn't getting a ton of interest. 83 overall, 25 years old, normal development, kind of an interesting combination there, but a very complete player that can immediately start opposite of Jalen Johnson. I liked what I saw in his skill set, his production. So we offered Leon Beckwith a 3-year, $24 million contract. Then I looked at linebacker after moving on from Robert Spillane. Look who's out there. It's our old 5th-round pick, I believe from year 1, Hunter Jordan. I put a high priority on continuity, and I know I've seen Jordan play a decent bit in this series before, so I'm okay with him being a 3rd linebacker potentially. We ultimately signed all 4 of those targets successfully. That basically ended free agency for us, being under $9 million in cap room. But this was a great way to shore up the roster and solidify the spots that needed the most addressing. The offense now was in place to go into the year perfectly capable of playing without any rookies having to fill in a spot. I didn't feel quite the same way about defense. I still wanted to find another cornerback, wasn't sure about linebacker, and I know we have to get deeper because injuries are bound to happen. I got familiar with this draft class to see how we were going to attack it. The strongest areas of this group seemed to be along the offensive line primarily, where there were a lot of top 10 prospects and plenty of starters throughout the first few rounds. I also thought corner was exceptionally strong, gave us a lot of first-round options, but the players projected to go after round 1 were very overrated. I knew we didn't need like an immediate starting offensive lineman, but if we look at the next couple years in the franchise, we're going to want to get younger, and this seemed like a really good class to draft and develop somebody who can become a starter potentially next year. So I had a lot of options on our board, primarily at guard. We get to the mock draft, and we see we are projected, after a run on running back, to take a corner in Deshaun Woodward. I liked Woodward a lot. I thought that would be a really good fit there with elite level athleticism, solid man, zone coverage, B awareness, a guy that can plug and play immediately. So on we go to the NFL draft, where it starts unfolding with a lot of really good offensive linemen. This is one of the best O-line classes I think I've seen in Madden 24. The top 100 was full of great prospects and starters. The first real curveball to me was the Cardinals' 6th overall selection going quarterback Marcus Dukes. Arizona now views Kyler Murray as a bridge quarterback. Here were our selections in this draft, and for my approach, I didn't really want to move up very aggressively because now that we're on more of a budget with our cap space, we can't afford to just have veterans at every backup spot, and ultimately we need to get cheaper, younger depth. So when we were on the clock at 31st overall, I considered some of the offensive linemen and the corners. So Anthony Washington, to me, was just a really good pure pass protecting tackle who's not a great run blocker, not the strongest guy. Deshaun Woodward was there. I was very comfortable taking him, felt like that was a really good skill set to acquire at 31st overall. I wondered if the BPA would be Drew Steinbach, because he has elite strength to go with B pass block power, very well-rounded. Ultimately, I chose to go with corner because I could identify that we were going to be experiencing a teardrop after Woodward. And if I wanted someone that can start right away, he is the guy. And there were still a lot of offensive linemen out there. But we do get a normal dev player. I was very comfortable, though, with the skill set. The plan was for him to start immediately as that 3rd slot corner. Following that, the Falcons go quarterback in Will Wallace after winning the Super Bowl. 2nd round, we see Drew Steinbach goes a little bit later to the LA Chargers. And I did consider moving up in the 2nd when there were some offensive linemen I liked. I wasn't sure if they'd make it all the way down to our pick at 63rd overall. I had a couple guys I liked a lot. Matthew Kirkpatrick, to me, would have been the guy to trade up for with the athleticism and the high pass blocking upside. Didn't have all the info on him, but I had a lot. Williamson ended up going a little bit earlier than we picked to the Chiefs, and we would have been able to move up if I had been willing to part ways with 3 additional selections. Ultimately, I wasn't. So Kirkpatrick went, and we still had guards we could take that I was really happy with. We are approaching the end of the second round. We can still take A awareness, A pass block players. I don't know if I've seen a class this good along the line. We ultimately select right guard Clark Walton. Hidden development out of LSU, 22 years old. The plan is not for him to play immediately, but that is a really good addition for us for the remainder of the franchise. After those 2 selections, I was prioritizing depth and getting players where we have older starters that might not be around a whole lot longer. Devin Abrams was a priority with our 3rd round pick. He too is a normal development player, but a really athletic interior speed rusher. Then we didn't pick again until the 5th round, so I knew we weren't going to get a lot of future starters, but shoring up the roster at safety, linebacker, and then backup quarterback. There was actually somebody I felt was worth a selection here, Josh Berry from Ohio. Now, following these selections, we were left with 2 7th-round picks, which I had a plan for. We still didn't have a kicker or a punter, but I felt like there were a couple good specialists in this class. We have kicker Cole Winter is going to be our selection, and he is a hidden development kicker out of Iowa with 94 kick power. But wait, there's more. Second to last selection of the draft. Now it's time to address punter. After all the years of A.J. Cole, a new direction. Punter, Scotty Dickinson. Hidden development. We take a pair of hidden development specialists in the 7th round. And there is your draft class for this year in the Raiders franchise rebuild. I'm really happy with it. Development aside, Deshaun Woodward at 77 overall, I'd rather have 77 normal than 72 star right now because I need someone that can step in and play immediately. We're a Super Bowl ready roster. With this pick, I needed someone that could be a slot corner. Now with the other picks, I didn't need them to play immediately. I'm not going to rush in Clark Walton with his below average run blocking abilities. I'm fine letting him develop, even losing his what's probably star development, and maybe he'll still get some playing time this year anyway. Devin Abrams, could he be the replacement ultimately for Milton Williams? He's that 3rd guy, and I'm happy to have him developing now. Then we took players like Amari McAllister, who's probably only going to be a special teams player. We addressed linebacker as well. These picks were just meant to help fill out the roster. And then Josh Berry, I really wanted to hit on this one, and I'm pretty happy overall, but I think with a roster like this, you're still better off getting a veteran at some point in case there is an injury. And then with Cole Winter, the kicker, 94 power, 79 accuracy, and the punter, Scotty Dickinson, we have 95 kick power and 70 accuracy. I had a couple things I wanted to address afterwards, and we signed a new backup running back. Isaiah Hendricks is going to be the primary backup this year to Josh Jacobs. He is a power back that has scored a fair bit of touchdowns with the Minnesota Vikings, and I like his skill set overall. And Cole Holcomb is going to be signed at linebacker to give us some more depth, and he might actually end up starting over Hunter Jordan. And with this remaining cap space, I also signed a backup safety in Alohi Gilman. Maybe he ends up starting at some point. We'll see how Jair Brown does taking over strong safety. But that gets us into preseason, where we have a training camp standout, and it's last year's Rookie of the Year, Michael Farrell, who burst onto the scene, had a tremendous rookie season. Now he's the training camp standout. It's looking more and more like he is the perfect Devin White replacement, and we don't even have to replace him right now. We have those two as a great pair in the middle. Here was the production over the course of preseason. Josh Berry, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Isaiah Hendricks scored a touchdown. Josh Jacobs had a couple. Rashad Bateman led us in receiving, while Taylor Seymour also caught a touchdown pass. And defensively, we had Ramon Hayes with 5 tackles for loss. Max Crosby picked up 2 sacks. And we also had a couple interceptions to Vaughn Shepard and Jair Brown. And that all leads us into Season 5 of the franchise rebuild. Here's one more look at our roster for this year. It's Season 5 of the Raiders franchise. And let me know what you think of today's video. It's definitely a little bit different, and it's part of what I've been talking about recently. Like, I have to be a little more strategic with these series, especially to get them wrapped up when I want to. So I didn't think it made sense to do just an off-season episode today. Like, would that off-season have warranted its own video at this stage of the series? Probably not. Right now, my newest series is my Cardinals franchise, and when something's new, I want to optimize for getting it out as much as possible. When you have series like this in my Saints, I'm more so optimizing for progress, and maybe those videos come out less often, but then I can do more Cardinals in the meantime and prepare for larger episodes in the Raiders franchise and Saints like this. So we're getting into Season 5 today with the season opener against the Denver Broncos, trying to get off to a hot start, and our only goal is to win the Super Bowl. That's the only thing that's going to make us happy in this series. The expectations have been really taken up a ton. And let's see if Michael Farrell can continue his standout storyline here. What does it take for a linebacker to get to X Factor? I'm worried it could be sacks, and he's not an edge rusher. I've never been more ready, coach. I didn't put all this work in just to come up short. Yeah, that's what I said in the Super Bowl. I did already set up our scouting for this year, by the way, so I know we have a lot of free agents again this coming year, and our focus is going to be on wide receiver, defensive end, running back, and offensive tackle. This just happens to be a really good receiver class, and we have at least one receiver this year that's going to be a free agent. So I thought it would be smart to get information when there are so many guys that could go in the top 100. And as a sneak peek at who the re-signings would be for this season, of course, the big one is Denzel Stockton. Does he get that mega deal from the Raiders? Ramon Hayes, who's done everything right in the last year to earn this extension. Josh Jacobs. This, to me, is probably where we have to cut ties with him. Is probably after this year. Rashad Bateman's a free agent. Anthony Clinton's a free agent. Curtis Ford. So, the clock's ticking on this series. In general, when it comes to how I look at the upcoming season in the NFL, I'm always thinking the Super Bowl loser probably takes a step back. It's really hard to mentally come back from how tough it is just to get to the Super Bowl and then to lose and start over. I'm hoping we can avoid that this year. We finally built a team that seems worthy of hoisting the Lombardi. And let's hope it wasn't just a one-year wonder. And let's see how Denzel Stockton opens this season. He is in the shotgun on first down, and a run to Josh Jacobs goes nowhere. Now against the Denver pressure, dumps it out, and Jacobs is wrapped up for a loss. And we've got third down. Have to get to the 35. Stockton fires over the middle. It's complete, and dragging a defender is Drew Keller. I'm not sure I'm actually using the correct playbook for this, by the way. This might be a Saints franchise playbook. And there goes Jacobs down the sideline. First down. Yo, the Giants signed Dak Prescott. That's hysterical. I love it. And they won. Chiefs also victorious in their opener. Trying to get a 1-0 start, and down the middle, it's Chambers. Nolan Irwin is in the game. And we go play fake on first down. That is caught and dumped inside the 5 is Tyrese Chambers. I did not address wide receiver. I think we have the right players in place. And now we go out of the eye from the 2-yard line. It's a run, and grinding into the end zone is Josh Jacobs. Touchdown Raiders. Whoa, what was that? 66-yard Josh Jacobs touchdown. Later in the first half, still shutting out Denver, Rashad Bateman gets his first of the season. Cole Winter hits his first career field goal late in the third quarter. And we got ourselves a Week 1 win today. A strong multi-score win against the Denver Broncos, the kind of game that looks like it could have happened last year on our hot streak. Very good start to the season. Denzel Stockton, I dropped my controller. Stockton only throws 141 yards, oddly enough, as Jake Gardner is the new starter in Denver. Put up a lot of production, was intercepted a couple times. But we ran the football primarily today. 11 for 111 for Josh Jacobs. Isaiah Hendricks carried 11 times. Even John Still, 8 for 13. He's the third running back. Simple day for the passing game. No one's really going to stand out with that little pass attempts. But we'll take a great win. Looks like Michael Farrell did not get any TFLs or sacks. He did get an interception. So did Alex Ramsey, whose role has adjusted, by the way. He's now at free safety. Last year, Devin Abrams gets the first sack of his career. So he hasn't gotten that big breakout yet, but with how much production he's shown he's capable of, we could see Michael Farrell as an X factor naturally by the end of the year. I know I had a point I was trying to make earlier. I forgot what I was talking about. My bad. On to the next one. Who do we got now? The Jacksonville Jaguars. The Raiders give up 31 and lose this game. Trevor Lawrence, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Denzel Stockton was intercepted a couple times and sacked on 3 other occasions. Anthony Clinton led us in receiving. Drew Keller was also very productive. Quiet start to the year for Rashad Bateman. And defensively, Ramon Hayes picks up 2 sacks. Very productive day for him. We're going to want to get that extension done sooner than later. The price is only going up, folks. But 2 interceptions. Julian Blackmon and Joshua Williams each took the ball away from Stockton. And judging by the box score, I think those would have had to happen early in the game because we scored late. It was lopsided, and then we closed the gap. So it looks like early Stockton interceptions dug us a hole we could not dig out of, which is too familiar for this series. Hopefully we can find some good running backs this year. That's going to be a priority to try to get ready to replace Josh Jacobs. I just don't think we can pay top quarterback money, top running back money, top edge rusher money. Eventually you just run out of money. So I think that he went down to a 91 this year. He's still going to be a very good running back. He's ranked number 9 in our league right now. That's probably going to have to be the last year with him in the series, I think. Heck of a career he's had, and it's been fun to have him in this series. Josh Jacobs, to me, is like the definition of a Raider running back. You got to be tough. You got to have some power. You got to have some attitude to you, and I like Josh Jacobs' game a lot. We'll have to see what happens this year. If he performs really well, maybe he doesn't regress too much and we can restructure some contracts and make it work. I haven't had to do too much restructuring in this game because there hardly is a need when you have less money invested into quarterback. It's the teams that have big quarterback money that have to move those dollars around to make short-term moves. We already had the money. So if he doesn't play much this year, Clark Walton will hopefully be able to work on some of those run game deficiencies to get him a handful of snaps. I know this is really just minor, but I have him as the long snapper, which will give him a few here or there. Tight end Joe Roberts. I just wanted the chance to say his name today. By the way, I had no idea that we were already nearing the end of Leon Hillhouse's contract. So I think we have 3 starters at least with expiring contracts here soon. He's got another year. I think this is the 5th-year option decision, which would not be picked up, but I think Hillhouse is still a decent player. My game has been freezing a lot on these menus lately. It just did it again. We had some classics last year against the Cincinnati Bengals, and they are 2-0 to start the season. The Raiders beat them in the AFC Championship, and now today, they get the better of us, 20-13. A low-scoring day for this Raider offense. Not looking all that potent right now, 123 yards. So we're running the football a lot. I don't know why we're not passing better with basically the same personnel we had last year and arguably better because of offensive line changes. But struggled here in this one. We're 1-2. Denzel Stockton right now is sitting at 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions while completing 70% of his passes. He's not even attempting 25 passes a game. Do we want to blame Stockton for this start or the team? Let's say Stockton needs to step it up. He's the quarterback, man. And he was so good last year. He is the reason expectations are higher. They're not arbitrary. We want him to play like he did a year ago. But now we don't have that same morale boost as we did a year ago. We don't have the same coordinators. So there are some changes into this formula. Is this a recipe that will not duplicate last year's success? We're 30th in passing. There's no way that sustains. Nice bounce back win, 24-17. Didn't put up huge numbers again, but 2 touchdowns, limit the turnovers. Very good job. Jacobs, 88 yards and a score. And Bobby Wise, always productive against us. Drew Keller, 7 catches. Chambers had 4. Feel like we're not seeing a lot from Bateman right now, while Anthony Clinton has most of Stockton's touchdowns already. 13 tackles and a sack for Michael Farrell, and Ramon Hayes even had a sack today. Yeah, let's get the negotiating started there. One thing that's easy to forget about with Ramon Hayes, at least for me, is that he wasn't actually a first-round pick. And I'm going to apply this point before giving him the contract offer. Overall, didn't move, I guess. But he was a second-rounder, but a very exceptional one now. He had 9.5 or 8.5 sacks first 2 years, missed some time, and then 9 last year, already 3 this season. The writing's on the wall that Hayes is a $20 million a year player. 3 years doesn't feel like enough. I want more years because that's more chances to move money around. I might even go 5. 5 years, $102 million. That takes him to age 29. Ramon Hayes signs a blockbuster extension. A lot better than a lot of second-round picks that I've made over the years. Like, I think the second round's one of my weakest because I end up, like, drafting, like, centers that aren't even that good a lot of times. Very interesting here that Anthony Clinton doesn't want to return. At least it doesn't seem that way. So maybe it's a good thing I have all those receivers getting scouted right now so we have options for beyond this season. I didn't have the game I set out to have, but personal achievements are secondary to getting the win, and we accomplished that this week. That's right. Winning is all that matters at quarterback. Why is the offense so middling right now? We put up yards, but where are the points, man? Stockton, 3 interceptions. Well, this kind of speaks for itself here. These 2 quarterback stat lines juxtaposed against one another. That's not winning football. Christian Benford, Mekhi Blackman, Jabril Peppers. Why you gotta do that to me today? 5 interceptions already this year for Denzel Stockton, and the number 1 improvement he made last year was taking care of the football. He was intercepted only, 8 times? And it looks like we're going to see more. He's already 5, and last year was 7. Morale is down for some players. We have Rashad Bateman down a little bit right now. His is sitting at 48. He lost morale because we lost there on the road, lost there at home. Maybe it's affecting him more than the other players. But we're 2-3 right now, and the Chiefs are loving this at 4-1 with nobody else in the division looking all that strong right now. Our Raiders are 13th in scoring offense and 24th on scoring defense. Despite the investment into cornerback, we're seeing our pass defense struggle. Getting guys like Deshaun Woodward some more development. He is the slot corner and probably has an outside role next season or whenever Jalen Johnson is going to be on a new team. I've also noticed that Jaden Perkins has been awfully quiet. And not like he was super productive last year, but he had his moments. And this season, he has a half sack, 14 tackles. We like a little more out of a guy making solid starter money. We don't score a ton against Carolina, but we do win. We've only topped 24 points this year a single time. We're not going to be able to do what we did a year ago if we can't start putting up 27, 28, 30-point games. But no interceptions today for Denzel Stockton. I'm just really shocked the pass production is where it is at because it's like the same outside of the coordinator right now. Pharrell keeps leading us in tackles week after week. Jaden Perkins, there we go. I was asking for a sack. He got one. Devin Abrams gets one as well. So I have Milton Williams as one of the starting D tackles, Abrams as one of the rush tackles. And so far, that seems to be working out. And his finesse rushing is really good. So it's good to get him ready because next year is probably him getting the starting job. But the consistency is just not there. 27-14 now. Not even keeping it a one-score game. 51% completion percentage. 171 yards. We got to do something with this passing game just to shake it up. You know, last year we replaced Amari Cooper because we just needed something else. And I think we've hit that same spot today. So we're going to have to see at receiver who's doing their job and who ain't. This was a Super Bowl rematch, by the way. Falcons get us again. 10 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 211 yards per game. Last season, how many did Stockton have? 257. So there's a decent bit of yardage still out there, and the touchdowns are not what they were either. In the running game, Jacobs is doing just fine. He's fighting back against Father Time and winning the battle there. At receiver, Anthony Clinton is by far our leading wideout. Drew Keller's also been productive. Bateman 314-1. Tyrese Chambers just 37 yards a game right now. He is the slot receiver. He's supposed to be getting extra targets his way. His yards per catch is way down. That's a bit concerning. And I just like to see more from an offense that is mediocre at best. So we are going to make a change then. And we're going to say, all right, if we're not getting the production out of Chambers right now, he's not going to get to be the slot receiver, and Rashad Bateman is going to move into that role. Now, we have already hit the trade deadline. I know we're 3-4. Oftentimes with that record, you're thinking of just selling. I am obviously not there. I believe in our team still and our roster construction. I think we can do much better in the second half. I just think with this talent, you're not going to see us continue scoring only 20.8 points per game. That is going to get better, right? This core to me is too good to give up on. But here are all the players that are set to be free agents at the end of the year. Jacobs looking for a contract that I wonder if we'll be able to manage. And then Rashad Bateman is closer to $13 million a season. We'll see on that one. But if Clinton doesn't come back, then you've got to make sure you have some solid presence there. Wow, $24 million is what it take for Colton Miller. That's going to be tough to fit in. Not impossible, though. We're going to stand pat here at the deadline. I think that our starting lineup is comprised of guys I either want to continue developing or solid, entrenched starters. I don't see there being an easy way for us to upgrade unless we're giving away, a lot to get something. Maybe we could try playing Aloy Gilman over Jair Brown, who has negative morale and I don't think has been super productive or anything. So that's one little upgrade that we can make. 32 tackles, no real splash statistics in here. I'll look at least. You got 2 undefeated teams right now. Let's see. Do the bad teams have anything we could use? Well, I'm going to have a hard time making this work with no cap space. I only have 3 million in space, so I'd have to restructure just to even have a chance for a lot of veterans. We are indeed going to stand pat. I just don't understand the offense, man. 16 points? How are you guys scoring 16? Stockton, 186, no touchdowns? At this point, he's playing himself right into a franchise tag. Because I don't see, I still think long-term he's probably the answer, but how do you give him an extension during this year? I think you got to use the franchise tag in this situation. Abrams is at least productive. The more we lose, the more of these rookies I'm just going to give flat-out starting roles to. If we're 3 games under 500, I am shifting to more rookies at guard and some other spots maybe. So let's go to the bye week. I think that I'm going to have to do the team bonding retreat this time around. I think the team needs some morale with all these losses. And we got to find a way to put together a second half that can mimic last year. While we're at it, we get some upgrading in here for Tyrese Chambers, who isn't seeing the second year that I was hoping for. He is still averaging under 40 yards per game. And then Clark Walton, who could be a starter here soon if things don't start picking up. I like the strength upgrade there. That's a really solid one. This is where we got to start putting together some wins. We're in last place right now. That is embarrassing. Chiefs are coming up. The 5-3 Titans are the opponent now. And it's just more of the same. We're losing these games, it seems, the same way. How do you catch 4 interceptions, hold the opposition to 22, and lose? This is bad football. I don't like it. Look at this performance we're wasting here. It's just so disappointing for a team that was so close to winning a Super Bowl last year. 1 drive away, man. I've had something on my mind lately. I've considered it for future series. I'm interested potentially in making it a challenge for right now. As we approach the end of the series, what do you say the rest of the way? We put our position with the Raiders on the line. Coach firing is going to be on. And that might be something I start doing in future series, so I have to worry about job security and getting enough wins to make it to the next season, and maybe have to start over with a whole new team. When you've done it as long as I have, you have to consider other options here, and I've never done any of these series with coach firing actually on. And risking, that I draft these players and no longer have a chance to play with them. I want the pressure. We're 3-6. I hope I don't get fired this year. I am at such a loss for words right now. How is this happening? How many? 154. 154 yards. How is this what the season has come to? Where is Josh Jacobs? Maybe he got hurt in practice this week. Mac Jones. No, you have to go to my other series to watch him. I don't know, guys. This wasn't even close to what I was thinking could happen this year. We haven't scored more than 24 points since week 1. At this point, you're looking at one of the most unlikely routes to the playoffs, especially with 2 games against Kansas City. We're 3-7, guys. Denzel Stockton again. Come on. Like, we're not actually about to have, like, a 5-12 season, are we? I keep waiting for, like, that win we're waiting on, 34-21, like a 3-touchdown, 350-yard game for Denzel Stockton. Where are those this season? If it doesn't start here, maybe it ain't going to happen at all. Our first drive is a good one as we methodically move down the field and get on the board with a Tyrese Chambers touchdown. The defense has done a tremendous job. We're shutting down the Chiefs' offense. They're not getting it across midfield. We have a penalty on them and then a penalty on us. Okay, that was weird. 28 to Chambers. Intercepted by Damian Burton. Momentum has changed hands. 3 points for KC. Raiders driving again. Touchdown. 20 yards, Rashad Bateman. But Kansas City's looking to get points before the half, and they're able to get into the end zone. 9-yard Mahomes rushing score. Another interception opens the second half. Chiefs lead. Somehow, we drove down the field. I thought that said we had a touchdown. Do we or do we not have a touchdown? Whatever. Chiefs drive and go up 3, converting the 2-pointer. The Raiders then drive to kick a tying field goal. And now there isn't much time to go in this game. It's 24-all. Raiders have had a lot of success against the Chiefs lately in the series. Mahomes underneath for Tony and a gain of 5. We force the Chiefs into a 3rd down. Mahomes pressured. He's taken down by Jaden Perkins. And the Raiders are set to get the football with about a minute left to play. We let it go for a touchback. Ooh, big game today for Tyrese Chambers. That's what I'm talking about. But who's going to go and make the game-winning play? Denzel Stockton. Could a win over Patrick Mahomes get things on track again? Chambers, 10th catch of the day. And we're trying to set up Cole Winter. Pass, quick and flagged down. That's going to be on us. The newcomer, Robert Hunt. Fake from Stockton. It's Jacobs, and he gets a couple. I think we're going to have overtime coming up here. Chiefs will call it, and the Raiders win the toss. 14 yards to Anthony Clinton. We do get out to midfield. Let's pick it up with Stockton and company. Bateman slot right. Not much star power on this defense outside of Chris Jones. And Josh Jacobs takes us to the 50. Pass is dropped by Tyrese Chambers. 3rd and 5. Pass caught now. Chambers holds on in Chief territory. The biggest game of Tyrese Chambers' career. That's 11 catches, 153 yards. Off the fake. It is caught by Bateman. 15 yards from a win. Play fake. Caught. Washington inside the 5. Where's this been? This is our brand of football here. And now 4 yards out. They're pressing the receivers. In the zone, Stockton gives. Down goes Jacobs. It's Chris Jones. And now 2nd and goal. Fake. Pass. Caught for the touchdown. Darnell Washington. That is a Raiders win. Biggest of the year. We still have KC's number, and whatever hope we have for a playoff spot this year is still alive. And maybe some job security with that win as well. We get our 4th of the season. We're going to need some more, but that was the kind of win I've been waiting for today. We got to put together a win streak as well, and the 3-8 Colts absolutely need to be a team that we pound. Winning by 7 also works. We get to 5-7 on the season. 270, 2 touchdowns for Denzel Stockton. Jonathan Taylor, 80 yards and a score. While we didn't run the football all that impressively, Bateman, 5 catches, 89 yards. Chambers found the end zone for the 2nd consecutive week. Also a big day receiving for Josh Jacobs. So we finally have back-to-back wins. Deshaun Woodward catches an interception. What's next? Well, of course, it would be Kansas City again. Wow, we are in the 4th quarter. Up 20-17 on KC. A 3rd and long with a 27-yard conversion to Drew Keller. The Raiders somehow have a chance to beat Kansas City again. What would our winning streak be at this point? 5 straight? Stockton looking to finish it off. And he's got Anthony Clinton on the catch. And that's basically going to be the game sealer. We will throw it here again, hopefully safely, and we do. Stopping the clock. 1st down ends it. 2nd and 3. Play action. Caught by Bateman. He's down to the 1. And you can wrap this one up. We made sure to score a touchdown before we did, though, and it's another win over Kansas City. The Raiders have 3 straight, and have gone from 3-7 to 6-7. So we have successfully built the team that consistently beats Kansas City. It's just the other teams now we seem to be having some more trouble with this season. Man, does Devin Abrams have a chance at Defensive Rookie of the Year? Because it feels like almost every box score I check, he ends up with a sack. He's not there yet, but he is in 4th place. 5 morale for the defense after that win. Can we keep the ball rolling? At 6-7, there's a lot of work left to do, and if the season ended today, we wouldn't be in the playoffs yet. This also seems like it's a must-win game, and San Francisco has a 91 overall defense. I just got to see their construction, because the 90s are rare territory. Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, then you've got Talanoa Hufanga, Chase Young. All these players are 90+. Dre Greenlaw, Diamador Lenore, Charvarius Ward. So, like, mostly players they've had the entire time, with exceptions like Aaron Worthy and Marco Morris. Do they even have like a sub 80 overall starter anywhere on that defense? Maybe one of their D tackles. Otherwise, Fred Warner's hurt. That forces a backup into play. Otherwise, it's as solid as I've ever seen a CPU handle a defense. But we still beat them 24-20. Wow. Stockton a touchdown, no interceptions. He's been taking care of the football mostly. Chambers has an 83-yard receiving day. He's had his moments now this season. Perkins with the sack, Max Crosby as well. So we fought our way back from a disgusting 3-7 start to be back at 500 with 3 road games left to go. Bang! Another win in overtime. We had a walk-off touchdown for the 2nd time in this episode, intercepting Jake Gardner twice. Who do we think had the game winner? Could it have been Stockton running one in, or Isaiah Hendricks on 13 for 38? Rashad Bateman, 78 and a score today, and the 5th consecutive win. But we lose a close one against New Orleans, 27-25, our first loss in a while. We fall to 8-8 with 1 game left to go. We're not currently a playoff team, and the only way to get in is by getting some help. And will that even be enough? Because we had a head-to-head against the Jags this year, and they're a game ahead of us. And Jacksonville beat us back in week 2, so we can't top them. Maybe we could top the Jets, but that would also have to be a tiebreaker, and we would need them to lose. So it's not looking good for us to make the playoffs this year. Despite that win streak, we would have had to probably win all of these games down the stretch. Let's just see, do we have a game on Wild Card Weekend or not? Wow! We missed it, and AJ Ray has been fired. No way. We just got fired after one season of going under 500. I thought this would be a fun challenge to add into here after, doing the series for a while and raising the stakes. Well, here is reality. The Raiders have fired us. What is that stat line? 19 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. I mean, I just can't understand Stockton having maybe his worst season. I don't know, his rookie year had 24 interceptions. That's hard to wrap my head around, having a season this bad. And now what? Because, I put my coaching job on the line here. 8.5 sacks for Crosby. The pass rushing, these numbers are not what I had in mind. Very little ultimately went right for this team this year. And now with AJ Ray as a free agent coach, what do we do now? What a strange note to end things on. Before I make any decisions on the next move here, I guess I'll wait to see what y'all have to say. I can't believe they fired us after 1 year like that. Only one season under 500, and we just made a Super Bowl run the year before. I'm not sure if the game is even factoring in previous year's success or how it does this, because I've never played with firing on. But I've been thinking about it a lot lately to make it something to think about for all these series, and I have no idea really the firing logic in this game because I've just not interacted with it until now. So that appears to be it for AJ Ray with the Raiders. But what would you guys like to see next? That is going to do it for today. An episode I'm not sure anybody saw coming. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'm going to need to see what you guys think before pondering the next move. Have a great day, everybody, and I will see you next time.